Do you want to find more time for your hobbies and the things you love? Well, in this video, I'm going to share with you the one power pack strategy that has enabled me to do more with less time and shift from dabbling to dominating my hobbies and things that I love. Now, this one not so secret strategy is called calendar time blocking. Calendar time blocking. So there's a quick picture. Don't worry about it. We'll get into in just a second. But at the end of the video, I'm also going to share with you a bonus daily hack in the morning that you can do to boost your productivity and focus throughout the day. Boost your productivity and focus. But what does calendar time blocking look like? Now, it might be kind of a new term or an old term, but I just want to remind you that this is really important. Time blocking and time management is the secret to getting more done with less. It's not some special voodoo drink or energy juice that you drink instead of eating your breakfast. You want to just bare bones, you take control of your time so that you are able to get more done. And this has been seriously impacting my life as I've been jumping into YouTube and doing a lot more here, as well as the creations that I have to make. So it's like a double hobby put together. It takes up a lot of time, but with calendar time blocking, you can do a lot. Now, I want you to make sure you're using a digital calendar for your time blocking. And a digital calendar has some advantages. First of all, you are able to change it really fast and you want to make sure that you can change with it too. Otherwise, you're just going to end up getting stuck with a calendar that's irrelevant. And you can use lots of colors. I don't know about you, but I like to use lots of colors in my calendar so I can see what is going on. And then lastly, you share your events with others, which this is like super amazing. I can take one of my calendars. I have a few that are for different activities like school, my events, doing YouTube stuff, and personal things. And I have my events. I can share that calendar with anybody so they know when I'm in the car, when I'm taking up a vehicle since I live with my family, and when I'm going to be out of the house and not available. And you can also access them on any device. So if somebody asks me if I have an event, I don't have to go home, find my paper calendar, look it up, and I can just look at my phone, be like, oh, look, I have an event on December 25th, so I'm not going to hang out at your house. And now, this is a quick peek into what my calendar looks like, and don't be overwhelmed. It takes a long time to not too long, it takes a while to get to a stage where you can be really organized and nail things down. And again, I have it split up with all the gray ones are like my school activities. I break all of those down into the exact time I'm spending on each activity. And then the orange is my events. That's where I'm out of the house. And then the weekends, I still need to master a little bit better. But those are very flexible, so I have to kind of remake my weekends every week to make sure that I really nail it down. But you also want to make sure you're not stacking activities. We'll get into that a little later. A few of these activities are overlapping, and you want to try and avoid that so you don't have confusion in your calendar. And now you might be saying that I'm just like the creative type. I'm not one who like does great with times and dates, and I just like to kind of go with the flow. Well, I don't care if that's you, to be honest. Now, that might be coming off hard, but I personally still can't hardly ever tell if it's Tuesday or Thursday. Somebody asks me the day, and if it's Tuesday or Thursday, I've got a 50-50% chance of guessing the right day. I can't figure out if it's Tuesday or Thursday. Now, I also can hardly remember dates. So calendar time blocking is almost perfect for you. If you can't seem to wrap your head around calendars very well, this is an easy way to visualize everything and just get it nailed down really well, as opposed to trying to keep everything locked up inside your head. Now, you can still be plenty creative within this time, and you can even plan time to be creative, but I want it to be planned, because when you're not sure what's happening, it's easy to let that time slip through your fingers, and then you're getting less done with your time, and what you want to get done is more. And I want to remind you, this is very important, because every minute The secret? Well, here, the secret is you need to control all of your time, and it needs to be more than just your hobbies. So that is really the heart of the matter, because if you're only planning the time for your hobbies, then you're already ending up further behind, because you like doing the dishes takes longer than you thought, or doing other activities in your day. Driving home from work took longer than you thought. So if you have it all planned, you know when you're going to do your hobbies. And the advantage with this is that you don't have to worry about other activities while you are doing the things you love, those activities that really matter to you. So if I wanted to spend some family time, but I still had school to do, if I knew in my calendar I have school planned out, so I know that I'm going to do that. It's not like an option anymore. So I can freely spend that family time without worrying about the school that I'm missing out on, because I've already committed to doing it later. And this really helps me be fully present wherever and whatever I'm trying to do. So when I'm working on my projects, I know this is the time I've set aside for my projects, so I don't have to worry about those other activities jumping in the way or just nagging at my mind because I'm not doing them, because I've already committed to those. And it also kind of creates this deadline effect where you see the end, the little red line coming towards the end of that activity on your calendar, and you're like, oh my gosh, I need to finish. And I don't know, I work faster when I have procrastinated and it's like a deadline. I think most people do, because you're running out of time and you want to finish. So that also is just a little bit of a bonus that helps you get more done in less time. And now we are going to jump into the reason this is important. Is every minute you spend in planning saves 10 minutes in execution and gives you a 1000% return on your energy. That quote by Brian Tracy. And every minute you spend in planning saves you 10 minutes in execution and gives you a 1000% return on your energy. Now, I personally would love a 1000% return on my energy, but I think that's a little bit of a stretch. But if you really start nailing down all of your activities and get it really all planned out, and you've got the system rolling for you, it is going to definitely save you time. And I think the 10 minutes in execution is a true fact. If I have a sudden amount of time that shows up for some random reason and I don't plan it out, it tends to just kind of dissolve away and my priorities are never really met. But if I plan it out, I know what I'm trying to do and it is much more productive and definitely saves that 10 minutes. And the energy, it comes a lot mentally when you're doing this, because you don't have to be thinking ahead when you do the thinking ahead when you're in the thinking ahead kind of mood when you're planning. And then when you're doing the project, you don't have to be thinking about what you're going to do once you're done with the project, because you've already thought about that and your day is already planned out, and you just now have to follow the grid, which doesn't require as much energy as planning it at the same time. And now we're going to jump into 3 tips to help you master your schedule and find more times to do the things you love, your hobbies. But first, smash the like button, because this is Maker Brain, and my mission here is to help you access and implement your creativity through DIY projects and videos just like this one, where I share all kinds of tips with you to help you be more productive and a more successful at-home creator, DIY maker, and using your giftings doing the things you love, just like we're talking about. All right, so tip number 1 is to plan it all. For calendar time blocking, tip number 1, plan it all. And what I mean by this is that you want to remember that you're planning and you're saving that 10 minutes, just like Brian Tracy said, saving that 10 minutes as you're planning. And 2, if you don't control your time, somebody else will. I don't know if you've ever thought about this, but oftentimes your email inbox is basically just a to-do list sent from other people. So you want to be making sure that you're controlling your time and not letting everybody else use you for whatever they want to do. And that kind of sounds more perverted than it's supposed to sound, but you don't want to let other people's ambitions always take priority over your own. And it's not totally selfish, because your calling and the things that you feel like God is also telling you to do and your passions are important, and you can't always go 1,000 miles per hour. So you want to make sure you're planning your time so it isn't getting sucked up into the culture and all the other things that you don't actually really want to do. And lastly, you want to plan some wiggle room in there. So it's helpful to have that wiggle room so you are not feeling like you're behind every time you have an activity or something back to back, because that transition time always takes a little bit. So sometimes I would just plan like 15 minutes at the end of my day or 30 minutes where I knew that was just a little bit of buffer time, and I wouldn't use that to play video games or chill out. That would be time that I used to recover activities that didn't get fully done. So that is definitely a good thing to have in there, and it's definitely something I'm still working on. As my schedule gets busier, I tend to just take it out, which isn't really a super good habit, but planning some wiggle room, some margin time is definitely helpful. You plan that margin time in. Don't just leave a white space in your calendar. Plan in when you're going to spend that margin time. And tip number 2 is say no. Now, this might sound kind of unenthusiastic and like lame and not cool, but no is how you're going to fit all the things into your time. That is how it's all going to fit. Because if you can't fit everything into your calendar, then you probably have a problem. If you start calendar time blocking and realize that you can't fit all these activities in the space of 24 hours, including your sleep, or 16 hours of your day, and then you have a problem, because you need to be able to do all the things you're trying to do in that time. Otherwise, you're just going to feel like depressed and like a failure because you can't do everything that you're trying to do and everything you've committed to doing. So say no to a lot of good activities, a lot of good things, so you can say yes to a lot of great things. You need time for yourself and for God, because you can't do everything. You can't do all the activities that you want to do. And my friend, you are special, but you are not the only one who's capable of doing things. Other people are capable of doing things too. So other people are able to do those activities. You are not the only one who can run slides at church. You are not the only one who knows how to shovel the driveway. So sometimes you just have to say no, or say no to going to a friend's house because you have things that you need to do. They're on your to-do list, and those are important tasks for your life and your calling and the things you love to do. So make sure that you are doing that. And you can't sustain 100 miles per hour all the time. So you want to make sure it's kind of covering up the 100 miles an hour. You can't sustain 100 miles an hour. You need time to cool down, spend time with yourself. And it kind of makes me think of when you have a NASCAR in a race and they're racing around the track super fast, but they always have to take a pit stop at some point where they stop, they reset their tires, and they refuel, and then they take off again. It's not always very long, but they are saying no to just blazing through and getting ahead of everybody, because they know in the long run that is going to hurt them. So you need to take a pit stop every once in a while. And tip number 3 is reiterate. Reiterate. Now, this is like we were kind of talking about this earlier, but reiterate, it takes time to make a perfect calendar, and so you need to make sure that you are reiterating on your calendar and plugging this system into your own life. So you're taking all the qualities of calendar time blocking, and then you're plugging it into the activities that you have to do and the way that your body and nature works the best. So it might not be waking up at 5, it might be waking up at 7:30, and you might do some activities in the morning versus the evening, whereas I would flip it around. But your schedule is not going to look the same as mine, so you want to reiterate and plug this system into your own calendar. And as you maybe spend a while following your calendar, you realize that you need to switch your creative activities from being at the end of the day to the beginning of the day when you're all energized. So those are just some things to keep in mind. And it takes time to optimize your calendar. Again, it takes time to do that. And don't pile events. So piling events is, again, just putting one event stacked right on top of another one in your calendar. You obviously can't do both of those at the same time. So you need to make sure that when you have a snow day or when there is an extra thing, you work around it. So if I have a do and then there's suddenly a snow day, I'm not just going to chill in that time. I'm going to put in my calendar, I'm going to block out all of those new activities, and then have more time to do the things I love in that day, because maybe I move up all my other activities so that I can get at the end of the day just hammer out the things that I want to do, or maybe vice versa and just fill up that time. But make sure that you are not piling events, and if I have to add something in, I have to work around that in my calendar. And that's why it's really helpful to have a digital calendar, because you can work around it and see those events moving around and the time that they take up really well, and it's really easy to reiterate. All right, and I gotta find my mouse. All right, sweet. And now ready for the bonus tip. The bonus tip that you've been waiting for the whole time. You're like, Eli, give me the bonuses. All right, this bonus tip is write down your objectives, your daily objectives every morning. Now, this is a lot of goal setting type stuff. I have a sheet of paper right next to me right here, and this has my like yearly goals or even longer like lifetime goals on there. But what you are doing is just a little notebook, and every morning all you have to do is write down your objectives for the day. And this could be as simple as, today I want to finish editing that video, or I want to put that video down into the timeline if your hobby is video editing. Or maybe if your hobby is working with cardboard, you could be like, today I want to design the project in my notebook before jumping into it. Or today I want to make sure that I finish gluing it together before I paint it. So writing down those objectives helps you have a lot more clarity as you're thinking about it. And these are just a few tips, bonuses that come from writing down your daily objectives. It gives you measurable improvement, so you can see the success that you're having, and that helps you define what is successful. If you don't really know what the successful things even are, then it's hard to feel successful. Like, if I go through the day, I could accomplish a lot but not feel successful. And then writing down these daily objectives helps you notice and see when you're actually being successful, and it gives you super focus, and then it helps you prioritize. So it's easy to accidentally fall into doing activities that don't really move the needle, don't really matter. So when you write down your daily objectives, you can do a lot more important activities and do the things that actually are going to make the difference and move the needle forward. All right, sweet. And now, drumroll please, we are jumping into the question of the day. The question of the day: are you going to start calendar time blocking? And if not, what will you do? Again, that's the question of the day. Are you going to start calendar time blocking? If not, what will you do? Again, the question of the day is always in the comments once the video is over, or the description below. You can reread on it there. And I would be super curious, like before this video or after, if you think calendar time blocking isn't for you still, then what other strategies are you going to do to plan out your time to make sure that you are getting more done in less time? And if you've watched this whole video, I want you to take action on doing the things that you love. And I want you, this tells me that you're ready to, the fact that you've watched the whole video tells me you're ready to take and dominate your hobbies and personal ambitions. So I want you to plan the next time you're going to pursue your hobbies or those things that you want to accomplish, and put it on the calendar. Don't just have it as an abstract thing that you want to do. And then start putting your whole day together, your whole time together, and start messy. It doesn't always have to, it's not going to be perfect when you start putting your time together. So it's going to take a while again to reiterate on that, and just start messy. Just start putting your time together and creating a solid daily routine that you can crush out. And then before long, before you know it, you will be doing more in less time. And you can start calendar time blocking today with Google Calendar. It doesn't take a whole lot to start putting your time together. But if you want to watch a video about 20 tips for makers, click or tap the screen right there. And if you want to watch another video from Maker Brain, click or tap the screen right there. As always, I'm Eli Tennant. This is Maker Brain. God bless, and I will see you in another video.